Mr. Gavaskar, are India simply unbeatable almost? Can anyone really beat India on their day? Are we the best team?
Well, South Africa beat India in the Super 8. So, look, this is a T20 format. And in the T20 format, a couple of good overs, both while batting or while bowling, can change the game in your way. So clearly, this is the hardest format to predict. Because like I said, a couple of deliveries, either way can change the game.
You're saying it's the hardest format to predict, but what makes New Zealand so dangerous in a way, particularly as they do so well in these ICC tournaments?
Well, they see, look, the reason is that, they are such a low profile team. Their media is, nobody knows about their media. Look at England, look at Australia. Their media is such that they build their own teams up as if they've been winning every other championship every day. While the Australians at least do it a little bit more, the English media building its team and then finding that the team doesn't do well, has been a regular feature, whether it is football or cricket. Maybe occasionally in cricket they might have won something. But New Zealand doesn't have that pressure. They don't have that pressure of expectation from home as well, because rugby is the #1 sport. And their players play in leagues all over the world, this T20 format in particular. And therefore, they're used to playing in different conditions, different attacks, different combinations. And cricket is not really a paying profession there. That's why they have to play all around the world. And that actually makes them a little more adept at adjusting to any situation. So that's why they can be dangerous, especially in the ICC tournaments.
But Mr. Gavaskar, while New Zealand has, there's much to admire about New Zealand, the fact is they are up against Jasprit Bumrah, that too on his home ground. Many believe he is quite simply the greatest fast bowler of his generation, possibly several generations. So is he the X factor who could on his home ground be the one lifting the trophy?
Well, he's the one man who brought India home up from a tough situation against England in the semis. And of course, Akshar Patel's catching. And not to forget Sanju Samson batting. But Bumrah's those 2 overs when Bethel and Jacks were going berserk were absolutely terrific. And therefore, yes, I think he's going to be the key. Considering that Finn Allen and Tim Seifert have given New Zealand a tremendous start. So hopefully he will be given the new ball and not brought in a first change. Because you want, before those 2 are set, before those 2 have had about a dozen deliveries under their belt, unleash Bumrah at them. That is what I would do as a captain. We'll just have to wait and see what Suryakumar Yadav does.
Any changes that you would make, Mr. Gavaskar, to the 11? There's been talk of Varun Chakravarti not in form. Could you bring a Kuldeep Yadav? Do you drop an Abhishek Sharma? Any changes you would make to the playing 11?
Yes, 2. I'd like 2 changes. I'd like Rinku Singh to come in place of Abhishek Sharma. Ishan Kishan opening the batting, Rinku Singh maybe 4-5, whatever it is, according to the situation. I'd like to bring Kuldeep Yadav in place of Varun Chakravarti. Because both these players who I would leave out are really down on confidence. And in a final, I would rather have players who are not, being weighed down by the disappointing performances that they have had so far.
Wow, that's a big call you're making there, Mr. Gavaskar. You're saying this team that's won this winning combination, 2 changes. You're saying Rinku Singh for Abhishek Sharma, who was, of course, the wonder kid before the tournament. And you're also calling for Kuldeep Yadav to replace Varun Chakravarti. Very interesting. That sets up Maninder Singh and nikhilnaz. You want to dive in, Maninder, first? Mr. Gavaskar is calling for 2 changes in the Indian team. Let's take the spin option. Would you choose a Kuldeep Yadav over a Varun Chakravarti, Mani?
See, as far as Varun Chakravarti is concerned, he's been a little jittery in the past couple of games that I've seen, and probably there's a niggle. But sometimes what happens is that a bowler like that who gets you wickets, he's the highest wicket taker so far, joint highest wicket taker. He's got 13 wickets to his name in this T20 World Cup. So it's going to be very difficult. If he's got a niggle, then you could have a Kuldeep Yadav win. Otherwise, I think he's a match winner. So it's going to be very difficult for the team management to drop Varun Chakravarti if he's 100% fit and bring in Kuldeep Yadav. And as far as Abhishek Sharma is concerned, I would put Ishan Kishan in the opening slot and bring Abhishek Sharma down to number 3 because he's a match winner. And, if he gets going, he would take the game away from the opposition. So I wouldn't drop Abhishek Sharma at all. But Varun Chakravarti, if he's got some niggle, some injury, then Kuldeep Yadav is a good choice.
It's very interesting, the Abhishek Sharma question, Nikhil. Before the tournament, he was being touted as the world's best T20 batsman. And now Sunil Gavaskar is saying on the show that you would actually drop him for the final. Something seems to have gone wrong with Abhishek Sharma in this tournament. He's just not in rhythm. He's dropped catches. He's not scored runs. It almost seems as if he is in some kind of a funk which he's unable to get out of.
Well, Rajdeep, they often say, conventional wisdom always says, don't make too many changes, don't tinker with your 11, continue with the winning combination, and that's exactly what India has got. But I think this particular tournament itself is proof that sometimes changes really do the trick. Look at Sanju Samson. He was sitting out, and you got that one right-hander, and see, it's just completely changed the complexion of this Indian team, because tactically other teams were coming with an off-spinner to target India's top 3 batters that were all left-handers. As soon as you've got a Sanju Samson, things have changed, and tactically teams have gone on a back foot versus India. So taking in that same breath, I think I'd have to agree with Mr. Gavaskar. It's never good to drop a player less, a player like an Abhishek Sharma, who's, as you said, #1 ranked player. But it's sometimes the eye test. We often talk about eye tests in cricket. And unfortunately for Abhishek, he's not passing that eye test. Multiple times, okay, fine, he's an aggressive player, high-risk cricket. High-risk players can get out. But when you're getting out to exact trap that has been laid out for you with 2 outfielders standing and you're giving the ball straight down their throat, it's telling me that mentally it's a bit of a soup that he finds himself in. And at that moment, if you can better your 11 by bringing someone from the outside, Rinku Singh is someone who you've played a few times but comes very low down the order, just bringing him in, change the batting order a bit. If you get Sanju Ishan to open, Tilak was batting at 3, he goes back at number 3. I think it just sorts the batting team a bit. And if you can take your best foot forward, what's the harm?
Mani, let's look at those matchups. The openers against South Africa were deadly for New Zealand. Do you believe that you need Jasprit Bumrah to bowl at least 2 overs in the power play this time? He sometimes bowls one in the middle and then 2 at the end. He is our match winner. Jasprit Bumrah gets Finn Allen, Tim Seifert, New Zealand on the back foot. Would you go and attack with Jasprit Bumrah right at the very top against them? Or go with spin?
Certainly. I would give him the new ball because he's somebody who gets you wickets. Whenever you throw the ball up to him, he takes that challenge. And it's going to be very important to have at least one of them, at least one of the openers from New Zealand side back in the hut in the first couple of overs. And for that, I think it's going to be important that you give Jasprit Bumrah the new ball. Start with 1 over first. If he gets you a wicket, maybe give him the second over. But yes, if he doesn't get you wickets, he's not going to give too many runs. And that is going to put pressure on these openers as well because they're used to getting runs very quickly. And if they don't get runs quickly, then they can get frustrated. So throw the ball up to Jasprit Bumrah. Try with 1 over first and need be, give him the second over so that if he can get you 2-3 wickets in the first couple of overs, then you're on top of the game.
Mm-hmm. What are you picking up, Nikhil, from the New Zealand camp? The Indian camp, as you've been saying, there is this possibility of Abhishek Sharma giving way to a Rinku Singh. What are you picking up from the New Zealand camp? Will they, against India, make any changes at all from the side that overwhelmed South Africa? Or they seem a very settled unit under Santner's leadership?
I think they will go in with the same team that helped them upset South Africa. I'll say upset because many were picking South Africa to be the title favourites. For them, tactically, it's going to be the two off spinners that will come into play. I think they are relying on that. Remember, McConkey did the job for them versus South Africa, bowled just that one over in the power play, got them those two early wickets that they needed, and after that he set the cat amongst the pigeon, and from there on New Zealand were really dominant. And one problem area you've seen with this Indian team has been that struggle against off spinners. In fact, Mitch Santner was asked about that and he said yes, he'll focus on that, though he said that India has a good batting lineup. Suryakumar Yadav in turn was also asked about the off-spin threat that there is going to be from New Zealand, to which Sky said, don't worry, we'll handle it. You know, in his quintessential Mumbai style, he was very relaxed and smiling in that press conference. So he said, don't worry, we'll handle that particular thing.
Nikhil, I would handle the off-spin threat. Off-spinners have never really troubled Indians. I don't know where this is coming from, that Indians have a weakness against off-spinners. The first time hearing about this.
But it happened in this tournament, Rajdeep, and I agree you would, because you're a right-hander, you know, right-handed batter. It's the left-handers that have been found wanting against the Indian team. And because you had plenty of, you know, left-handers on top, there were teams that were getting, sort of a good start versus India. Let's not forget, you know, a part-time off-spinner in Adam Markram actually was the one that put pressure versus India in that game. That was played at, the same stadium where you'll be playing the final. The good thing though, Rajdeep, and this is good news, I'll tell you, that's coming straight out of Ahmedabad, that unlike the two black soil pitches, which has such painful memories for us as Indian fans, you know, I remember the 19th November game, the final, you prepared a dry black soil pitch which backfired. Then the game versus South Africa, once again, a dry black soil pitch which backfired. The good news is you've got a mixed soil pitch here, and that too a fresh pitch that only saw one game in this entire tournament. They've shaved off the grass, but it's expected to have some good bounce, good batting pitch. The ball's going to come onto the bat. It's not going to offer too much to the spinner. So I think it'll be a batting paradise, and those are the sort of pitches that India enjoy, both in the virtual quarterfinal versus West Indies, as well as the semi-final. Those are the pitches that they played on. So I think that is great news that is coming out of Ahmedabad.
And speaking about that 19 November 2023, Mr. Gavaskar, if you're still with us, I want to ask you this. You know, after that defeat, when we were overwhelming favourites against Australia, there was a sense, was Ahmedabad an unlucky ground? And no one who's played the game believes that really there's anything, I don't believe at least, there's anything like an unlucky ground. But it's important in a way that at Ahmedabad we break whatever jinx is there. And is this a very different game to 3 years ago? We are perhaps far better equipped in the T20 game in some ways, even without the Kohlis and the Rohit Sharmas. Would you agree? No place for jinxes in cricket.
It's a different format. And the November 19, 2023 was just one bad day. India had won all the 10 matches previously. That game, things didn't quite go their way. Australia, who were not at the top of their game, came on top of their game on that particular day. So yes, I think that's not the most memorable place. But I don't think cricketers dwell too much in the past. No sportsperson actually dwells too much in the past, because you're focusing on the present. You're focusing on the next ball. And I think the Indian players, whether they're batters or bowlers, will be focused on the next ball and not what happened yesterday or what happened 4 years ago.
So who's winning? Maninder Singh, quickly, who's winning tomorrow? Who's winning the big game?
I think India's got more chances. I believe that they've got a better balanced side, and they thrive under pressure as well. There's going to be a lot of pressure on the Indians, and they're playing good cricket. After losing that game against South Africa, I think that was a good wake-up call. I have a feeling India is going to make it.
Right. Nikhil, I'm putting you on the line. Who's winning?
Well, Rajdeep, I think I'll make it a full house. I know you believe India is going to win. We were doing the podcast yesterday. I think, India clearly hold the aces. They've got too many match winners in their ranks, more than New Zealand. Though I always, word of caution, I go back to 19th November. I go back to the 2019 semi-final versus New Zealand. We were all actually looking at the final, forgetting the semi-final. One bad half hour can change things. Though I agree, different format, different conditions. So, man-to-man, India, the much better team, but it's that one-off game. You have to be firing on all cylinders to win. So, India for me.